Good morning to all of you.
Hi.
So, am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I think Vice Chancellor Sir has joined in.
Mm-hmm.
And students slowly they are joining.
Okay.
I can see them joining.
Yeah.
And I think so. In a minute or two, we will start.
Okay.
I am not sure whether Sir has joined in or not. I saw his.
Is it still all online teaching now, or is the university started?
Yes.
Oh, it's all online. Okay.
Some offline things have also started slowly. Gradually,
Okay.
they're starting. They're trying to get more people. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sir has joined in. Sir has joined in. Good morning, Sir.
Good morning, Madhurima. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir.
Good morning, Madam Jennifer, Liang. Yeah.
Thank you. Good
Pleasure
morning.
to see you.
Okay, so we will start today's program. Good morning to all of you. This is the last day of the Women's Week, that is the 16th of March. And this day is celebrated every year as the death and birth anniversary of Chandraprabha Saikiani, the rebel leader of Assam, the feminist leader of Assam, who worked for women's emancipation. We are yet to know about her life and struggles. The center, Chandraprabha Saikiani Center for Women's Studies, has been working relentlessly since last decade on her contribution towards the society. So that is one mandate that the center is right now doing. It's Saikiani, Chandraprabha Saikiani, who had her ardent feelings towards humanity that revolted against such exploitative practices in the society, and she vowed to work all her life fighting for all this. And the best thing that she wanted was dignity and freedom. Now, what were this? Because many students have joined, what was actually Saikiani's ideal of emancipation? She wanted women to be educated. She wanted women to be economically independent. She had served this idea of self-reliance. She had worked on the issues of, she was the first person who had actually formed the Mahila Samiti in this part of India, Assam for that matter. She worked for education of women. She worked for self-reliance. She worked and talked against child marriages, parda, widow remarriage, discrimination, and untouchability. Today, on this day, every year, we have eminent people who have been in the fields, people who have been academically working, people who work relentlessly towards the women's cause. All these years, we have been inviting and people have been cooperating with us. They have been delivering excellent lectures based on their researches. Today, we have with us Ma'am Jennifer Liang. And I tried to invite her many times earlier also, but this time, Tezpur University feels honored that you have accepted and you have confirmed, and ma'am, you are there today. Before we go to the program, we have few things that I would like to tell, that Vice Chancellor Sir of this university is going to inaugurate the program. After that, your introduction will be read out by Dr. Ivy Demari. We had few competitions. I will announce the results, and these results will be given when the students, they return back to the university. But we will official announcement we will make. And then today we are also going to pay homage to one of our community leaders, late Ma'am Niruma Subba. That is after the memorial lecture. This will be held in Vice Chancellor Sir's office. So I request Vice Chancellor Sir to kindly speak a few words on this occasion. Sir.
Thank you, Professor Madhurima Goswami, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this webinar this morning. And I must apologize for not being able to attend the function on International Women's Day on 8th because I had some commitment in Delhi. So my apologies for the same, but now I'm making up for that little absence of mine. Professor Jennifer Liang and all other faculty members of the Center for Women Studies and dear students. Professor Goswami has just mentioned about all those contributions which Chandraprabha Saikiani made to the Assamese society and to the country in general. But I first I must pay my tribute to this legend of Assam, and as Professor Goswami very fondly called her the pride of Assam. She worked basically for a fairer society, for a society which is ethical, which provides equal space for women as much as it does to men, where the women can actually express themselves without any fear, without any constraints, without any traditional norms. This is what she fought for all her life, through her writings, through her activities. And so we must acknowledge that with great sense of gratitude to her. So having said that, it hasn't been easy, not only in our country, but I think in the rest of the world too, to provide this, equal space to women. In fact, in some of the most advanced countries, the rights were not given so easily. Even today, I think in many of the UN member countries, you would find that the women still do not enjoy the same privileges as men do. And just look at these statistics. I just Googled a bit about how many women of consequence are in leadership position in various walks of life around the world. And there was some very startling statistics. You won't believe that, barring the queens and the kings, but if you look at the prime minister and the president, from 1960 onwards up to 1968, there was only one head of state, whether it was a prime minister or president. And then gradually these numbers picked up, and it became something like 9 in 1990 and 17 in 2012, and around 19, that was the maximum in 2018. Now it has again come down a bit. But yes, the struggle of women to be in positions of power or in positions of any consequence, not necessarily in the political field, but I think in other fields too, it has been a struggle for them. And so I think today, when we observe this death and birth anniversary of this great figure of Assam, I think we must all work towards a fairer society, a society where women can express themselves, they can become equal partners in this growth story of our country. So with these few words, I look forward to listening to Jennifer Liang. And thank you, Professor Goswami, for giving me this opportunity to be with you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your nice words and that you could make yourself available for this opportunity to listen to Jennifer Liang, ma'am. Before we move on to Ma'am Jennifer Liang, I will request Dr. Daimari to kindly introduce Jennifer Liang to our listeners. Dr. Daimari.
Good morning to all. I would like to give a very brief introduction of today's speaker. Jennifer Liang has been working in the Northeast region of India for over 2 decades since she completed her master's in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. In the year 2000, Jennifer co-founded the ANT, that is the Action Northeast Trust. an NGO working for rural development, and since then, she has been living and working in villages of Chirang district of Bodoland in Assam. She headed the ANT as its executive director from 1996 to 2016 and is currently involved in IDEA, an initiative of the ANT, to strengthen the voluntary sector in Northeast India. Jennifer Liang has been a Chevening Gurukul Scholar 2013 London School of Economics, and her thesis then was to look at women's political participation in local governance in UK. In 2014, she was among 50 emerging women leaders from 21 countries chosen to take part in a 2 week institute titled Reconstructing Societies in the Wake of Conflict, Transitional Justice and Economic Development, organized by the Women in Public Service Project, an initiative by the then US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the US State Department. Jennifer Liang has co-authored a book titled Health Inequities in Conflict Affected Areas, Armed Violence, Survival and Post-Conflict Recovery in the Indo-Bhutan Borderlands, which is under publication by Springer Nature. Ma'am, today on this great occasion, we are really glad to have you with us today as our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Demari. We will not waste time. We will move toward Ma'am Liang. Ma'am, you can start your talk.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's an honor to be here with all of you today. And so while I'm not an academic in that traditional sense, I'm a practitioner. And so today I would like to actually share stories with you, of from the field. So thank you so much. The topic for today is women and leadership in the contemporary times. And I think what I would like to talk about is one facet of leadership, which I feel that is very, very critical. And since there's so many young people and all students and a lot of women and men in the group today, I would like to touch upon this thing about challenging. And, every International Women's Day theme really speaks to me. But this year, I think we've just celebrated International Women's Day, and the theme could not be more apt. And it touched my heart completely. So I thought I'd like to speak to you about that, about the campaign theme of choose to challenge. And so today, what I'd like to share with you are stories of challenging in my 20, 30 year of career as an activist and just a development worker in the villages. So I'll just talk about stories of challenges, and I can give you a lot of theories on leadership and everything, but I thought that this is where I like to really touch upon, because I feel feminist leadership is a lot about challenging the status quo and and what's happening. So today I'd like to touch on that. But just before that, I just want to celebrate with all of you the fact that today, just a month ago, the whole Bodoland territorial region area, we are celebrating, women getting 33% of reservation in local governance. It's been a long struggle, and we are very, very excited that many more women leaders in the villages will be coming up, and I'm sure that they will be able to shoulder a lot of the change burden that society needs. So I just like to celebrate that with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a series of stories. I like to take you through a series of 5 or 6 stories. So what I'll present before you is actually, just photo images. Yeah, so I've just prepared a PowerPoint presentation, but the presentation is actually just images. Can you see that?
Yes, we can see that.
Yeah. So, so the first story that I like to talk about is actually about, the community that I come from. I'm Indian Chinese, and we are born here and third generation, fourth generation Chinese. But, I want to talk about this thing called the lion dance, and why and how it's related. Lion dancing is something that Chinese all over the world do. And like most, of our rituals and norms, and our society is highly patriarchal, only done by men. So even in Calcutta, boys used to do it. And as I was growing up, I spent the first 10 years of my life in Calcutta. And I remember as a girl, always thinking that why can't I also go land dancing, with my brothers and cousins. And but this was something which was not, really an option for us. Girls are not allowed to go line dancing. And that was a very sore point. So in the year 2000, when the millennium was changing, and there was so much of excitement, there was a lot of hope. I was in Calcutta doing research, oral history, and just staying there and working with the community. And then we decided to try and break this norm and really challenge this one thing. So in the year 2000, we actually started a girls' line dancing troupe. And that was a challenge which wasn't really very easy. Yeah, that's me over there. And,
No, madam.
while,
No,
yeah,
no.
Images are not there.
oh, images are not coming. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
no. You have to open. You have to open the PPT and share it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've opened the PPT. I can see it on my screen.
No, no.
Shall I
Okay.
shut it and open it again?
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Please.
just minimize it.
Okay.
Minimize this folder.
Okay. Is it coming now?
No, the photographs are not.
No, the folder, ma'am.
Yeah, the folder I minimize. Okay. Okay. Now,
Wait, it
one
will
sec.
come.
Let me try and do this again. I stop it. Okay. Uh, okay. I'll try and present again now. A window. Okay. I'll first open it and then try and
Yeah,
go
that's
to it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. I'm used to Zoom and not Google Meet so much. Yeah. Okay. Now, is it coming?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see this now?
Yes. We see
Yeah.
some. Yes.
Can you see the images?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see the images, but try to share the whole screen rather than
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should say share all screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, a sec. Present now your entire screen. Yeah. No, but that screen is not coming. That's why. Okay. Let me do again. Okay. A window or an entire screen?
Entire screen.
Enter screen, ma'am.
Entire screen.
But entire screen, I can't see it over here.
No, whenever you click enter screen, then you have to click it.
Okay. Oh,
Click the image,
now?
then yes.
Now
yes,
is it
yes.
coming?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Is this okay?
All
Yes.
right, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Finally. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. It's called the lion dance. Okay. And it's all done by boys. But in the year 2000, we decided to change this norm. I mean, like I said, that if not in this millennium, if we can't break it in the start of this millennium, then never. So it was a very interesting kind of a journey. The community was dead against it. They said that you're breaking, you're breaking all our traditions. This is not part of our culture. And actually, in the world, there were. I think we were one of the first all girls lion dance troupe to come out, and and there was a lot of backlash. It wasn't an easy journey. We had to hide. on somebody's terrace and actually practice. And there were a number of things that we did. I mean, like there were houses that said that they would slam their doors on our faces. So it's like, in Bihu, when you go house to house and take blessings. So similarly in this, we take the lion and we go house to house and we take blessings and we bless the house. So some people said that they'll slam the door on our faces because girls are not supposed to be doing lion dancing. So we took up a number of interesting strategies. We said we would boycott certain areas. We only recruited girls, families that had only daughters. And then they said that, yes, you can come to our home because these are our daughters. So very interestingly, so we managed to break that norm. And over the years, girls line dancing has become acceptable because we chose to challenge that in the year 2000. So you can see like girls dance over here. Side to side there were like girls troops and boys troops, and girls became very accepted part of the scene. And I must say that this is the latest picture in 12 February, just last month in Kolkata during the New Year dance, New Chinese New Year in Kolkata. I'm very, very proud to say that my nieces and my 18-year-old daughter could actually take part very, very naturally, along with their brothers and along with their cousins. And this happened because, we chose to challenge, yeah, a certain norm, and which is a very gender stereotypical, rules and norms which discriminated against girls. So challenging, therefore, is very important. And I'm very happy that it took 20 years. But in my lifetime, at least, I could see the change, that happened. Yeah, because one chose to just challenge it. So therefore, this theme, that's why, is very, very special. And it's calling us to challenge gender bias, discrimination, stereotyping against girls. But I think we need to push it one step further. And my next stories that I like to tell you is actually about that how do you act positively and try and change gender norms forever. So this is one gender norm that changed forever. Uh, my next story, I'd like to go back to Chirang district, where I've been working for the past 20 years. And I'll talk about stories of challenges, from that. The first one I like to talk about is something called a women's cycle bank. Now, if you remember, this is in the year 2004, almost 16 years ago. At that time, women, especially married women, didn't ride cycles. And in our area, it's very difficult to move around because we don't have public transport in our villages. There were no proper roads, bridges. Things are much improved now, but at that time, women just had no mobility. So we felt that if women have to rise in leadership, mobility is a very, very big issue. So we introduced cycles, in the villages. But people didn't want cycles, and women were very shy to ride cycles. They had learned the cycle, probably some women, many, many years ago, when as girls. But after that, they had never ever cycled, once you're married. And, if in a poor household, if you buy a cycle, the first cycle that you think of is only a man's cycle. You don't think of women's cycle. So women wearing dokhanas, wearing the mekla sador, wearing a sari, how do you get onto men's cycles? So we started pushing for something called a cycle bank. And I must say that, it was a very interesting journey because first we had to make cycling natural. So we started having cycle races, cycle learning camps, for women. And we also started having rallies. We would go through villages where cycling is not allowed for women. And slowly, slowly over time, women started accepting, and people and men and community started accepting women cycling. So this is a very special story that I want to tell you. When we went to the Bengali Muslim community, we were very, very worried that, how will it be? And it was true. Some of the community members just said that no cycling for women in our village. It's just not part of, our culture. It's not part of our thing. So this is in a cycle learning camp in Tulsi Jora. I mean, we were absolutely heartened, and delighted that women actually were so excited to learn cycling. And on the right, if you see, that's the woman's husband looking after the children, while she was learning how to cycle. So that gave us a lot of courage. And because some women challenged these norms, we were able to actually revolve something like 1100, 1200 cycles, all through women's groups and all through women. And so married women learning cycling and becoming mobile and being able to move around really gave them a sense of confidence, and gave them a lot of courage to take on other issues. So that's one story. My next story that I want to talk about is actually about kabaddi. And as part of our women's empowerment in the villages and to build women's leadership, we also always felt that it's not, when we look at women's issues, we always think of it as a very, very serious thing. And that's true. Women's lives are, burdensome and cumbersome in many ways. Um, but we also wanted to celebrate the joy, of living. So we've always had this thing of having sports, having games, having a lot of activities for women. So, and all our self-help groups actually, there is a lot of games and sports and activities. So as part of that, one of our groups, this is called the Janglari group, this is right next to the Bhutan border, in a place called Koilamoila. So one year, these women, they decided that we want to have a kabaddi match, of married women. Now, in that area, kabaddi is not played by married women. And they went and they said that we want to have a tournament, and we want to have, invite a lot of other groups of women over, and this is what we want to do. And we said, okay, we'll support you. But little did we realize that it would, create such a backlash, against the women. The men were quite horrified. I mean, they said, are women playing in public? It's not done. And how can we allow our wives, to have all these demonstration and playing in public? And so the men were really angry, and they said, no, 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 don't do it. And they were trying to discourage the women. And it was really interesting, because the more that the men kind of pushed these women, the more they felt challenged. And they said that, no, we want to have a match. And the men said, no, don't have it. And husbands stopped talking to wives, and wives stopped talking to husbands, and we actually got scared. I mean, we felt that maybe we should back out a little bit, and we told the women that, why don't you back down and not have this time? But the women said, no, we want to have it. I mean, what is wrong? And surprised, so they went and put these little posters, hand drawn kind of posters in all the trees. And surprisingly, 9 groups actually came, forward, and they went ahead and had the matches and all. And this is the final, the finals of the kabaddi match, where we had 2,000 men and women watching. So it was a huge success. And that was the same time when kabaddi, your pro kabaddi, became very popular on television. And then the other women started saying that we also want to take part, and we want to take part in a proper way. So we want to have a tournament in which rules are followed. We want to play like the pro kabaddi players. Now, in the villages, you don't normally play like that, but they wanted it to be like that. We want to play with uniforms, So these are women getting into uniforms, and it's very interesting if you look at, this was the first year, so they said we can't wear shorts, but maybe we could wear salwars. So the women's groups, the federations, they actually stitched their own salwars, and they had uniform. And another very interesting thing was, women actually telling us that, whenever we have matches and we have awards and prizes for them, we give them, things which are practical, that they can use in the house, like plates, cups, trays, and things like that. So they turned around and they told us, listen, all that is very fine, but we don't want all that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, just before that, there's this one picture in the final match, the match was about to begin, the match began, the whistle rang, and then the baby started crying. So we had to stop the match while the mother breastfed, the baby. So when you work with women and when women challenge status quo, these are things also, one has to build in as part of what happens. So anyway, the women told us we don't want these cup plates and everything. We want medals. Okay, we want these trophies. So yeah, so this is what we actually gave them. Yeah, and very very interestingly, because the women challenged and they started playing kabaddi in one of our areas. The men in the following year actually organized a kabaddi match and tournament for women, and in that they said that women are allowed to wear shorts, and they're allowed to wear whatever that they want to wear. So it's been a very interesting journey, of yeah, challenging and these women leading a small initiative which has created now many ripples. Now we have both women and also girls who play football, in the villages, and schools are actually organizing football matches for girls. Yeah. um, my next story that I want to talk about is what I've titled it as about the Sifung girls. Sifung is this long flute that the Bodos use. And, the Bodo community, like many, many communities, girls are the dancers and, boys play the music instruments. So you have three basic instruments, the flute, the drum, and your sedja, which is your violin. And this was the status when we started working, with youth on culture. So girls dance and the boys played, and this is how it was uh, till 2015. When two girls, Bijuli and Daisy, they decided to challenge this, and that's Bijuli on the flute and Daisy. So they have been, a part of our children's groups, our youth group, and they've grown, up with our organization and with our work. And they decided that they wanted to learn how to play the instruments, and so that's what they did. So Bijuli and Daisy, I think they are one of the first girls in our area to start playing the instruments. And the next year, following year, I got this very funny kind of an award. It was Man of the Year award, given by some small organization locally. And so they gave me a Man of the Year because they thought I was a very good man, to lead. So then with this, and along with that award came 25,000 rupees as prize money. So with that 25,000 rupees, I said, okay, since I'm such a good man of the year, let's do a little bit extra. And so I gave this 25,000 rupees to train girls. We ran a summer camp for girls on music instruments. And so it was really interesting that first the boys trained the girls, the locally, and some of the girls, that's Bijuli training the other girls. Uh, but by the end of the camp, we got a full troop, of girls who became musicians. And so this, I feel, is one of the first, all girl music troops where girls are all musicians, within Bodoland. And we were very, very worried because again here you're challenging culture, and also being a non-Bodo and from the outside, I was scared that they'll say that it's Apahonskriti, or it'll be like anti-culture. But I must say that it was received very well. The Bodo Sahitya Sabha actually got these two girls, Pijuli and Daisy, to lead the procession, of the Sahitya Sabha. So that was really very, very gracious and generous of them. And today, if I see in many of our villages, we have girls who train along with boys, and nobody even bats an eyelid. Yeah, and it's become so normal, in our area now. And and this I'm especially proud of. In July 2017, again, so every year we have music camps where we train many young people and youth. And if you see that this is actually the girls training the boys, on how to use the flute. So gender and stereotyping and the norms and the gender bias, I think somewhere there we managed to erase it. It's also because two girls challenged and they dared to do this. So this is really powerful. That so these are the two girls teaching the boys. So it's like a quite a role reversal now. Of gender. And again, I'm very happy that I could see it in my lifetime. Yeah. The last story that I want to talk about is, all this is very fine in the community, but within the organization and institution also, challenging is very, very important, challenging of gender norms. And I think at the ant, that is something that we have done over the years, try to challenge. So the first one that I want to talk about is, motorcycles. A motorbike is a very, very male, pejorative, that and a total male privilege. Getting onto a motorcycle and going around. You find very few women on motorcycles. But one thing that I realized was that, and that's so I started riding the motorcycle around 15, 16 years ago, and because in our area, if you look at the landscape, I told you there are no bridges, there were no roads, and so to get to one place to the other, you can't be riding a scooty because it's not as stable as a motorcycle. So we had to get motorcycles and get women on motorcycles. So I started riding the motorcycles and started encouraging. uh, so I just want to talk about the story of these are my two colleagues. They are Hasina and Noni. Hasina is the one with the baby. Hasina comes from a Bengali Muslim community, and getting her onto a bike was really difficult. Now, Hasina was working with us for many years, but unless women rise, unless they are mobile enough, they cannot rise in leadership. Because and so in NGOs, in a lot of institutions, you find women at the lower levels. They're very good field worker, they mobilize in the village. So where their foot can take them or where their cycle can take them, that's all that they rise. Supervisory, when they become team leader, project leaders, when you have to manage a much larger team, a much larger area, you have to be much more mobile. And at that time, motorcycles was the only way that we could get around. So it was very important for us to get Noni and Hasina onto motorcycles. I remember that when we started getting Hasina onto a motorcycle, she was more than happy to ride it, and they learned it very fast. She learned it very fast. But her uncle came and threatened the family that will break her legs if she rides a motorcycle. I mean, it's okay if she rides a scooty is fine, but motorcycle, no, it's a no. But then we in turn went, I in turn went and threatened the uncle that if you threaten something like this again, you'll be in jail. And because she has a right to do what she wants and the family is okay with it, so what's your problem? So then she got on the motorcycle, and that's her until she got. Then she got married, she got pregnant, she had the baby, and she still was on a motorcycle for many years. And today she's one of she's in almost in our top leadership. Including Noni. Noni is a class 10 pass, and she's one of our team leaders, and they ride the motorcycle all over. Yeah. But it's not easy. This is Rashmi Baideo wearing a dokhana and onto a motorcycle. Now, how do you get women wearing, mekla chador, dokhana, saris onto motorcycles? So we actually have a policy. So we got designers, we got fashion designers to fashion clothes, which look like traditional clothes, but they actually they are like different. They are adapted, so our women can actually wear this and get onto motorcycles, because it's important to challenge. And but to challenge, you also need to support, your team, to be able to challenge that. So till a time comes when communities accept women with whatever that they wear, where be it pant or whether salwar kameez, till then you have to keep supporting women to keep challenging little by little and rise in leadership. Yeah. So similarly, we have an all-women accounts team. I mean, we do have a large team, we have a large budget, but to manage it, we've always said that women can manage accounts. This is also very rare in NGOs, because normally when you think of accounts, finance, handling large sums of money, it's largely the men, accountants who do it. But we have a very, very effective women's accounts team that's been trained, over the years. And this is my last but favorite, slide that I have. We have Ulopi, the driver in our organization is a woman. And we kind of felt that so getting Ulopi even trained. Ulopi is a young widow, and we searched all over trying to get women to go for trainings for driving, and nobody came forward. I mean, for 6 months, 7 months, we searched and searched, and finally this little thing, and Ulopi is just, I think, 4 feet 10 inches or something. She's very, very tiny. And she said that she would go and she wanted to learn driving, and she had never even ridden a cycle in her life. And so we sent her for training, and she came back. And the first time she drove the Bolero, she was so tiny that we had to give her 2 pillows, to sit on and drive. So now she's quite a familiar face in Bongaigaon. I mean, first people used to stare, a woman driver, but now she comfortably comes to Guwahati, drives everywhere. Yeah, so that's Ulupia driver. Yeah, so this is what I just wanted to talk about, that leadership is about challenging. And I just want to say that as girls, as women, we need to dare, we need to challenge if we want to really change the status quo, and it's possible. Yeah. So thank you so much. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am. It was very interesting. Interesting in the sense because students, they could see the images and they could also, they could internalize, they could see what actually you had done in the field. So I was just trying to see that you had taken this small idea of mobility, that how mobility is important for a woman to move in her life. And what I see through your presentation and through your, ideology of, that you can achieve small. If you achieve small and the small wins, then it can promote consistent progress. Now, what you're doing is you're taking it from the very base. And what we do is we do it at, the upper level. And, so you have this base which is polluted. You have this base at the grassroots where there is no work. And I see here that you have taken one area. I was looking at the methodology. You've taken one area and you're trying to change what we always say. We always say, change the mindset, but we still don't know that what is that way or what is that, solution to change the mind. How do we change the mindset? And from this, your presentation, we could learn that this is the way to change the mindset. This was something very important that I found in your this. I also saw that you were experimenting, you were taking risks, and you were also learning from the mistakes. Like, I like this idea of, fashioning the clothes according to the comfortability of women is very important. Because somewhere you're always told that you should preserve tradition. You are the tradition bearers at the same time. So it was a fantastic idea, a woman to wear a dokhana at the same time, but she has fashioned it in such a way, styled it in such a way that it makes it, she feels very comfortable regarding it. So I think you had a lot of, the presentation seems to be very simple, but it's not simple. I understand. To change the mindset is the biggest challenge that we have. To search out these challenging opportunities to change, to grow, to innovate is not easy. And I think Ma'am Liang has done it. And because I know your work and because I know what the kind of work that you've been doing since last 2-3 decades, all of us, we know So that was also one of the reasons I wanted you to talk to our students, that how you must learn to envision, that how we
Yeah.
can uplift and how we can enable a future. Thank you, Ma'am Liang. And
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
open this up. I would also request Vice Chancellor Sir to speak a few words if he has certain ideas on what Ma'am spoke.
Yeah, because such a wonderful presentation,
Yeah. Thank you.
Madam, and I thoroughly enjoyed. I think the take-home message, as Professor Goswami had just mentioned, is very profound. Is very profound. Incremental changes. Don't get disappointed. Dare to dream to bring about the change. Incremental changes. That's what happens in the kind of the world we live in. And if we look at not only in India, but I think abroad also, the changes have been very, very incremental because there is so much inertia. Inertia is one part. The people don't want to, they're uncomfortable, as you said in the beginning, breaking the status quo or changing the status quo.
Yeah.
And I think it's, whether it's in the name of religion, whether it is in the name of, some traditions of a particular faith, irrespective of which faith you have in mind. But I think we all have to sort of, if we believe that this is what is right and ethical, and it is giving fair opportunity to women, girl child, and everyone. I think so if you are convinced, then have the courage of your conviction, and I think things would finally fall in place. This is that's what I believe in. And I remember like in my house also, when my sisters, when I was very young, and when they tried their hand on cycle, riding a cycle was not a taboo, but my mother did say, oh, don't do this, this is not for you. I remember that. So yeah, and any girl playing football or something, it was just not allowed. Yes, yeah, but things have changed. Things have changed, and in my university at Tejpur University, I don't know whether you have come here. I mean, it was such a pleasant surprise for me when I took over in 2018 that there is a intra-hall competition or intra-hostel competition, and the girls do play kabaddi here.
Yes.
In my university, and it's such a pleasant sight when you see all these girls riding in the riding on the campus in their bicycles. In fact, we have these cycles provided in front of the hostels. So yeah.
So
And it's people like you, who are, it's so refreshing to listen to people like you, rather than, as you said in the beginning, rather than going for this very complicated theory of social change and so on, this is, by example. And just one, out of curiosity, I'm asking you this. Your organization's name, ANT, is it an acronym for something, or is it just that you have chosen it?
I think we first chose the name and then put an acronym because people would ask what's the acronym. But I think the ANT symbolizes small efforts.
Exactly.
And, many people coming together.
Yeah, I thought so too. But
That,
what does it stand for? What does it stand for?
It stands for the Action Northeast Trust. So we are based here. But one thing I just want to say is the theme for today is challenging. And I feel challenging comes from within. And because there's so many young people here, I would like just to also appeal that let's start making small challenges, for ourselves and start daring. I'm very concerned about the way that, especially middle class girls are being brought up and we are being made very, very protected and safe, that we are scared to dare and we're scared to challenge. And I find that with a number of my young colleagues, who are educated, who come from universities, but very, very scared to dare, and so I feel that we need to dare and we need to challenge more.
Yeah,
because we have the privilege to do it.
sure.
Whereas, women in villages may not have the same kind of privilege that we might have. So I think it's also our responsibility to dare
Yeah,
and to challenge more.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's an ethical issue for me. You see,
yeah,
for some of us, and I'm sure for you people also, it
yeah,
must be an ethical issue.
yeah,
When you are not giving equal opportunity to everyone, as you said, derive the joy out of living. And if you deny that joy just
mm,
because of gender, I think it's just not fair. And I would just extend your, this catchphrase, the challenge the
yeah,
status quo, or challenge the norms, or challenge the traditions.
mm,
Challenge yourself.
yeah,
Challenge yourself also, because challenge yourself to the limit. You don't know how much you are capable of.
yeah,
Yeah, so as a female, either as a child or a woman, I think just there is so much intrinsic potential in every woman. I personally think that the women have much more
yeah,
uh, capability and ability than men.
mm,
No, seriously, I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, just look at the roles you discharge from day one.
mm.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. It has been a
Thank
real, very refreshing to listen to a very wonderful talk. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Liang. If we have questions, because we have our younger generation, our students,
you. Yes.
and they might be having, some questions. If you have, you can just ask, or you can put them in the chat box. There is no time to put them in the chat box. You can ask them right there. This is a memorial lecture, though we don't have this interaction session, but since young
Yeah.
students are there and your
Sure.
presentation was, yes, Sonali, there is a question from Sonali. Yes,
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
yes.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes. Hi, Sonali. We can hear you.
Hello, ma'am. It was really a very mesmerizing presentation, I would like to say. Uh, Really, ma'am, when we work with the at the grassroots level, no theory works. There is no certain specific theory we can consider that it will work. But at the same time, we have to work in the uh, like grassroots level also. And as I'm doing PhD in this Center for Women's Studies, we need to correlate with this the grassroots activities and theory also. So how to connect those like activities and like theories?
Yeah.
What is the way we can connect those two?
Yeah. So I feel that both are very, very important. And because we have the theory, we also have people in the grassroots who need it. So, having these two things are really, very important. And this whole thing of a reflective practice is something that, we are stressing upon a lot. Like within the organization, we also have our own learning circles where, each of us present theories that we have read and we have studied and try to connect it. And this is something within the organization we do. Not many organizations do that. So therefore, there's a disconnect between theory and practice. Sometimes
Practice.
it's all theory, sometimes it's just practice, and I must say that it's taken me around 15 years to 16 years to get back to theory. you know we were just about all practice, and I went for my first study and course after 15 years of being in the field. But from that, one realizes that younger people need to be connected to theories books. So we also give, in fact, leave. Saturdays are off days for you to read, because when you're working, there's no time to connect with academics and to read. But that's also critical, because unless you have something to share and something which is good enough for the community, there's no point of hiring professionals, and there's no point of us being there if we are also like somebody from the village. But we empathize, but we also need to bring in and put in our bit. So therefore, there is a very
Yes,
important
ma'am.
place. So reflective practice is a very good way, to mix both theory and practice. Yeah,
Practice.
yeah,
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Do we have more questions? Yes. Do we have questions? Okay. Okay, then I request Dr. Moshumi Mahanta to kindly. Hello, Moshumi Mahanta.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you're there. So kindly offer the vote of thanks and send them. And before Moshumi goes into offering the vote of thanks, which will end this session, let all of us, on behalf of Tezpur University, salute this great personality, Jennifer Liang, for making us learn how to challenge the process. She made us learn that today. How she has challenged the process, how she has inspired a shared vision, how she has encouraged hearts to come together. And then she has modeled a way out there. I think this is very important.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
We must learn from this. We must learn from this. And it was so, it's not easy, I understand, to enable others to act and then to make them feel good. This feel good factor is a very good thing. No, you feel so satisfied when you see that results are coming out. The women, after all, they could, ride the motorcycles, they could do this, they could, and you were, they were listening to you. They were listening to you because they could see the fruits of, their dignity and their freedom. They could experience that. We salute you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We want to see more of you in our future years.
Yeah. Thank you.
Over to Moshimi.
Before going to vote of thanks, I would like to announce something. Actually, from 8th of March to 16th of March, we have organized a series of competition on the occasion of International Women's Week. So we have organized some poster competition. The poster competition's theme was on women leadership. So I just want to announce the winner's name. The first winner of poster competition is Abhishek Kabra. The second winner is Aparna Seal, and third is Swati Gogoi. And the next competition was the poetry competition. Theme of the competition was street. And the first winner is Abhishek Kabra again. And second winner is Sandrika Shrutikar. And third is Pragyamita Saha. So I just request all the winners collect their prizes from the center when there will be offline classes and they will be available in the campus. So these are the winners. I congratulate all of you. And I just want to say that all the poetry and the posters are very nice. I appreciate their efforts, at least to participate in the competitions. Thank you. So now I will just come to my duty, the vote of thanks. Very good morning to all. So it gives me pleasure to offer the vote of thanks to the dignitaries who have contributed in the successful completion of the program. First of all, I, on behalf of Chandraprabha Saikiani Center for Women's Studies, give a heartfelt vote of thanks to our resource person, Jennifer Liang ma'am, for her enlightened speech. Actually, if you observe the stud box, actually lots of students have offered thanks, and it actually reflects the intensity of the lecture. It really enlightened us, and it is definitely very encouraging and thought-provoking. I offer my sincere vote of thanks to Professor Vinod Kumar Jain sir for his continuous support to actually every endeavor of our center. So we really are very lucky to be such a gender-friendly administrator in a true sense in our university. So I offer sincere thanks to Tazpur University administration for their technical support. And last, not for the least, I offer my sincere thanks to all the participants for joining in the program. I hope all you enjoyed. Thank you very much. And this is
Thank
actually,
you.
I just declared the end of the International Women's Week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. We are moving towards your office, sir, now.
Okay. Okay.